Every single day we use informal labels like Bob for Robert or Liz for Elizabeth without a second thought. These shorter alternative labels are a universal part of human culture across the entire globe. We use them to show affection, build friendships, or sometimes just to make a long name much easier to say. But if you stop and think about the actual word itself, it sounds incredibly strange. There is no famous historical person named Nick who invented this concept for the world. The word does not refer to a small cut, a mechanical notch, or a specific slot in time. So why exactly do we use this specific phrase to describe our casual secondary names? Today on Behind the Basics, we are traveling back in time to uncover a hilarious historical mistake. You can see how centuries of casual human speech completely transformed the English language. A simple slip of the tongue created a brand new word we still use today. To find the true origin of this bizarre word, we have to travel all the way back to the Middle Ages. Hundreds of years ago, Old English was a very different language than the one we speak in modern times. Back then, if you wanted to say that something was extra or additional, you would use the root word eke. If a farmer needed to add more soil to a dry field, they would eke the ground to grow more crops. Therefore, if a person received an extra name based on their appearance or personality, people called it an eke name. This literally translated to an additional name used alongside their official birth title. For example, a tall man named John might be given the eke name of Long John by his local neighbors. But because printing presses did not exist yet, language was passed down almost entirely through verbal conversation. When people spoke quickly in crowded markets, the words naturally began to blur together over time. A person would say they were giving someone an eke name, but the human ear would hear something slightly different. Because the letter N in the word "in" naturally attached itself to the beginning of the next vowel sound, a linguistic shift happened. The phrase "an eke name" slowly mutated into a eke name across generations of spoken dialogue. Eventually, the spelling changed completely to match the way it sounded on the street, and the letter N became a permanent fixture of the word. By the time dictionaries were printed, the original root had vanished entirely from common memory. The entire concept belongs to a fascinating linguistic accident known as misdivision, where word boundaries get confused. It shows how the habits of everyday speakers can permanently rewrite the rules of grammar. This hilarious process of words accidentally stealing letters from each other is actually incredibly common in the history of language. Linguists call this specific phenomenon reanalysis, and it has shaped many everyday objects we see around us. For example, a long time ago, a small slithering reptile was called an adder, but over time, it became an adder because the N drifted away. Conversely, the orange fruit we eat today used to be called a naranja, but English speakers dropped the starting letter because they thought it belonged to the word "in." This exact same confusion happened to the word nickname as it spread across the villages of ancient England. As the centuries rolled forward into the modern era, the purpose of these extra labels began to change significantly. In small medieval towns, almost everyone shared the exact same traditional birth names like John, William, or Mary. Without unique last names to tell people apart, giving someone a creative nickname was the only practical way to avoid massive confusion. A blacksmith named Thomas might be called Thomas the Iron, while a fast runner might be known as Thomas the Hare. What started out as a funny verbal mistake quickly became an absolute necessity for organizing civilized society. Today, we no longer need them to sort out postal mail, but we still use them to build tight bonds with our friends and family members. It is amazing how a simple breakdown in pronunciation evolved into a beautiful tool for human connection. The way we manipulate sounds shows that language is a living, breathing thing that adapts to our daily needs. A forgotten medieval mispronunciation remains hardwired into our modern digital text messages. Beyond the funny history of the word itself, nicknames serve a brilliant psychological purpose in how humans communicate today. When we give someone a special shortened title, we are creating an exclusive bubble of trust and friendship. It instantly signals to the surrounding world that you share a close personal history with that specific individual. In fact, sports teams use this concept constantly to build intense loyalty among millions of passionate stadium fans. Think about how famous athletes are given powerful labels like King James or the Black Mamba to elevate their status. These names become massive global brands that represent speed, power, and incredible athletic skill on the court. The same trend happens in modern business, where giant technology companies give their software products catchy internal project titles during development. It helps a team feel unified and excited about a secret goal they are working to achieve together. By looking past the formal labels printed on birth certificates, humans naturally find creative ways to reinvent language. We take a rigid system of formal vocabulary and bend it to make our social interactions feel much warmer. This clever use of language turns an ordinary name into a badge of honor that people wear proudly. It allows us to express our unique personalities without being restricted by old traditional rules. It is a powerful social tool that bridges the gap between different cultures worldwide. So the next time you call your best friend by a silly shortened label, remember the strange history behind the word. You are not just using a casual piece of modern slang to get their attention in a room. You are actually participating in a massive centuries-old verbal mistake that permanently altered the English language. A simple slip of the tongue by medieval peasants turned an eek name into the word nickname we use today. It is a beautiful reminder that language is shaped by regular people speaking casually rather than strict rules in a book. The things we say every day are filled with hidden history just waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for watching this episode of Behind the Basics. You can find fun animations showing how the letter N traveled from one word to another. Seeing this visual transformation makes the historical accident incredibly easy to understand. It is amazing how a simple mispronunciation survived for hundreds of years without being corrected. Many other words in our daily vocabulary share a similar accidental background. If you pay close attention, you can spot these linguistic quirks all around you. Next time you use a casual title, you will know the funny truth behind it.